Welcome to Web Browsing Basics. We will cover basic internet navigation, filling out of forms, and by request, we're going to do a little work with Audible. Stay tuned to the end of this recording because I've got some exciting announcements to make at the end. Okay, without further ado, let's begin. I'm going to say a few words about web browsers. Those of us who are longtime internet users are used to using Internet Explorer, but sadly, Internet Explorer is going by way of the cassette tape. It is being replaced by Microsoft with Microsoft Edge. And while Microsoft Edge has come a ways in terms of accessibility from being impossible to being usable, it's not quite where it needs to be yet. So that leaves Mozilla Firefox and Google Chrome. I think Google Chrome is just slightly better than Firefox, so that is what we're going to be looking at today. So I'm going to hit Alt-Tab to get from my Zoom control window over to Google Chrome.
Wishlist Audible, Google Chrome, Wishlist Audible.
And now I want to open up a new tab because I want to keep this wish list. We're going to come back to it. But I'm going to open up a new tab. And the way you do that is hit Control N, Control
N, new tab, Google Chrome, address and search bar, edit, end invalid, about blank.
And what that does is that drops focus right into the address bar where you can type a web address. And I'm going to type in actually my own web address for Angela Fowler Assistive Tech Training.
ANGELAFowlerTRAINING.com. Enter blank AngelaFowlerTraining.com. Home Angela Fowler Assistive.
Oftentimes what Chrome will do is it will help you out when you're in the middle of an address by suggesting it. So right in the middle of Angela, it would have said AngelaFowlerTraining.com. I would have hit enter and we would have gotten back to the same place. As it is, however, I cleared my browsing data because Chrome was being a little sluggish and I wanted an optimal Chrome performance for this webinar, so it did not. So the first thing that I would want to do, had I let JAWS talk, it would have told me how many headings and how many links were on the page. And this is important information because it tells you how to best go about navigating the page. I know I designed this, so I know how it's organized. And a well-designed web page is going to be organized by headings. So to navigate by heading, you'll want to hit the letter H. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the letter H, and we're just going to explore down the page a couple of headings here.
Main menu heading level 2. Home heading level 1. Welcome to Angela Fowler Assistive Tech Training heading level 1. Teaching blind students and professionals the skills they need to achieve technological independence heading level 2.
Now you see what happened there. Welcome to Angela Fowler Assistive Tech Training was at heading level 1. That's a big banner heading. Shout it from the rooftops kind of heading. Teaching blind students, blah, 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 was a level 2 heading. That's a lesser heading. That separates larger sections of a page within the heading level 1. I'm going to go down again.
Upcoming events heading level 2.
Upcoming events is another level 2 heading. Under that,
Free Web Browsing Basics Sunday, March 29th, 4 p.m. Pacific Time heading level 3.
Is a level 3 heading. So that's a category within the subcategory that is upcoming events. But what if I just wanted to jump down to the next level 2 heading? I don't want to hear about upcoming events. I want to hear about something else. I could hit the number 2 to go ahead and just skip over that.
What my clients say heading level 2.
And it skips down to testimonial, the testimonial that I've got down here. So that's basically it. That's the basic structure, basic organization of the page, how things are laid out. Now, there's other things on the page too. As you noticed, there's a main menu. So we're going to jump up to the top of the page. Now that we jumped up to the top of the page, you hit Control Home. If you have a key with a 6-pack, the Home button is in the top row, the middle key of that 6-pack. And we're going to H down again to the first heading.
Main menu heading level 2.
Which says main menu. Now, on any Drupal site, which this is, the main menu is the main navigation menu. So we're going to, what this is it's a series of links. And we could do one of two things. We could arrow down or we could tab over.
Home Angela Fowler Assistive Tech Training Google Chrome. Visited link home. What I offer link. Become a client link. All about Office link.
So we got home, what I offer, become a client, and all about Office. Now you heard that one of those links was visited. That's the home link, and we've already been there. The way you would access a visited link is to hit V, but we don't want to do that. We want to actually access the unvisited links. So we could tab over to them.
Main menu.
But say we've got an unvisited link in the middle of a bunch of visited links. That can be accessed by hitting the letter U.
Link what I offer.
What I offer.
Link become a client.
Become a client. Now.
Link what I offer.
We're going to click the what I offer link, and I just hit Shift U to go back. Any of the navigation keys that I'm going to give you, hitting those in conjunction with Shift will take you backwards. So, for example, the letter U took you to the next unvisited link. Shift U takes you to the previous unvisited link. So we're going to enter on this.
About the training Angela Fowler Assistive Tech Training Google Chrome. About the new.
And this is stuff I wrote up about the training that I offer.
About the training heading level.
You know, what it's all about, what I do. So I hit the letter H down to the level 2 heading. This is about the training. Now, what if I just wanted to read the text? Well, the first thing I'd want to do is I'd want to make sure that I've actually have text to read, because a lot of times you'll see a heading like this, and then you'll see a bunch of media share links and things like that really you don't want to sit there and listen to Jaws read for 5 minutes. The letter N, as in Nancy,
heading level 2 navigation,
will jump you down to the next text.
User login heading level 2.
Next unlinked, the next non-clickable text.
Main menu heading level 2.
So I'm going to
You are here heading level 2 about the training heading level 1.
Jump down to about the training.
About my services. Heading level 1 about the training. Heading level 2 navigation.
Probably because there aren't that many links on this page.
About
the N key is actually jumping down to the navigation heading. But in a case where there's a bunch of forms, a bunch of media shares, things like that,
main menu heading
it would actually work as expected. So I'm just going to H back down to the
visited link home. About the training heading.
About the training.
About
and I just want to read the text. I don't want to click on anything or anything like that. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to hit Insert Numpad 2.
About my services, I offer a unique learning experience to fit almost anyone's unique circumstances. I also offer maintenance services which will have your computer running its best in no time. A unique training experience, 100% remote. I offer 100% remote training. No more waiting for buses or coordinating rides to get to.
Okay. I see now that I need to tag some of these headings. Okay, project for tomorrow. So on this page, we're going to move into the subject of filling out forms, but I'm going to open it up for questions right now. Does anybody have any questions?
Wishlist meeting controls.
I'm going to pause screen share.
Sharing is paused.
And
control 1. Remote control button. More button drop down. Control 1.
Okay.
Remote resume share button. Alert, sharing is resumed. About the training Angela Fowler Assistive Tech.
So what I'm going to do at this point, we're going to segue into the filling out of forms. Now, I've given you a lot of shortcut keys at this point. I'm going to write up a list of these quick navigation keys, just because it's a lot of information and it can be a little bit difficult to remember. But I'm going to go ahead and Control Home to go to the top of this page.
Main menu heading level 2.
and I'm going to H down to the main menu, and I'm going to tab over.
Home link. What I offer link. Become a client link. All about Office link. Become a client.
Hey, Angela.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I tried to find the chat on the iPhone, and I've done it before, but I just don't know where to punch it in to answer your question, because sometimes on this iPhone it kind of jumps around, things move around a little bit. But my question is, when you were showing some of this, also we didn't hear. I didn't hear the speech that when you were arrowing down or up. I didn't hear Jaws talk, anything like that. I don't know. Was it done on purpose? Or what is it?
No.
I was just trying.
Is it not sharing the computer audio?
We're not hearing it. I mean, I'm not hearing it on my iPhone.
Meeting control.
At first I heard it, and then later on I didn't hear it anymore.
Pause share button. New share button. Pause remote control button. Pause new share button. Enter. Select a window or an application. Share screen button. Base screen. Share your entire share computer sound checkbox checked. Screen. Basic tab check selected. Share screen button. Enter. New share button.
I'm going to start a new screen share.
Pause share button.
Can you hear Jaws now?
Not hearing anything.
Remote control button. About the training, Angela Fowler, assistive tech training, Google.
That is very odd.
Yeah, I heard it talking about
remote control button,
and then all of a sudden just
alert.
Oh, okay, now we're hearing something. Now I can hear it.
Choose one of the audio conference. Give mouse keyboard.
Okay, now I can hear it.
Checkbox not checked. Give mouse keyboard control to lift. Auto accept all request. Escape or escape. More button. Dock to bottom button. Stop share button. Mute. Currently unmute. Audio settings button.
Okay, we're good.
So it's still not sharing Jaws, right?
Right now it's showing Jaws.
Okay, good.
About the training, Angela Fowler, assistive tech training.
Excellent. Okay. Well, thank you for pointing that out. It's
Sure.
We do the best we can with the technology that we have, and it's not always perfect. Some share computer audio was indicated, but it wasn't actually sharing. Okay. So I don't recall what link I have focus on at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Insert Numpad 8.
Link become a client.
And that will tell me the current line, and I am on the form field that says Become a Client.
Enter.
So I'm going to hit Enter.
Become a client, Angela Fowler, assistive tech training, Google Chrome. Visited link, become a client, become.
So this is a form.
Become a client, Angela Fowler, assist first name edit required invalid entry.
So how do you jump down to the first form field? You jump down to the first form field by hitting F, and Chrome is saying invalid entry because there's nothing in there. We could probably do without this information, since obviously if there's nothing in there, the entry is not valid. But we're going to hit Enter.
Enter. First name edit required invalid entry.
Mode, and I'm going to just start filling out this form.
A. Last name required invalid. F-O-W-E-R. Email required invalid. A-N-G-E-L-A-F-O-W-E. R-T-R-A-I-N-I-N-G at G-A-I-L-C-O-M. Phone required invalid entry 555-1212. Street address required invalid entry has pop-up. N-A.
And it wants my street. Now what I'm doing to advance to the next form,
street address to edit has pop-up.
I'm hitting Tab. So I fill out a form.
City edit required invalid.
I write in a form field, and then I immediately hit Tab to advance to the next one, and that's why I'm able to do this so quickly. But
Y-U-B-A space C-I-T-Y.
As I type in my city,
state combo box required invalid entry, select.
I come up with something else. It says state combo box.
As you're filling out the form right now, I don't hear no Jaws speaking at all, and I'm trying to.
Did it stop again?
Yeah, I tap along just to follow, but I don't hear Jaws right now.
I'm gonna try something else.
Switching meeting controls.
Stop this.
Audio settings button. Alert.
Then we're gonna start a new one. And we're gonna
audio settings button. Become a client, Angela Fowler.
I'm only gonna share this window.
C. Become a client, Angela zip. State combo box required, California.
Now we just heard the field state.
Said state California.
Mm-hmm.
Edit required invalid entry.
I can hear it, Angela.
You can hear it?
Yes, yeah. But I also have my speakers on, but I can hear it.
Okay. Technology is a strange and wonderful thing.
0, 0, 0, 0, 0.
So when I got to the combo box that said state, I'm going to go back to it.
State combo box required. California.
Okay. How did I get to California so quickly? By pressing the first letter of California. So say I was in Michigan.
M, Maine.
I'd hit M.
M, Marshall Islands. M, Maryland. M, Massachusetts. M, Michigan.
And at this point, I can M or down arrow until I finally get to Michigan. There's a lot of M states. Fortunately,
C, California.
California is the first C state in the list, so all I need to do is hit C once in order to drop down to California. So I'm going to go ahead and tab.
Zip edit required. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. What would you like to work on? Finding and organizing documents. Checkbox not checked.
Now, Jaws said, what would you like to work on? And it said finding and organizing documents, checkbox not checked. When you're filling out forms, it's very important to listen to your Jaws, and it would probably help if I wasn't talking over it. But it's finding and organizing documents, checkbox not checked. Now, you also heard something interesting, and I'm going to go back, and I'm going to shift tab back into the zip code field, and I'm going to be quiet.
Zip edit required. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0.
It said zip, 0, 0, whatever. And you heard a high-pitched popping noise, right? That higher-pitched popping noise means that you are now in forms mode. So I'm going to hit tab again to the checkbox.
What would you like to work on? Finding and organizing documents. Checkbox not checked.
It said, what would you like to work on? And while it was saying that, it gave you a lower pitch popping noise. So we're no longer in forms mode. We're on a checkbox. In fact, we're on the first of a series of checkboxes. So I'm going to go ahead and hit space.
Space checked.
And what that does is it activates the checkbox. And I'm going to tab over.
Creating and formatting documents. Checkbox not checked. Browsing the internet. Checkbox not checked. Online shopping. Checkbox not checked.
And it gives you several options as to what you need to work on. And I'm going to
Space checked.
check a couple at random here.
Accessing music, videos, and other entertainment. Working with email. Maintaining or something else. Checkbox not checked.
Now, it said something else. I'm
Space
going
checked.
to check that. And if I tab again,
what else would you like to work on? Edit.
You hear a high-pitched pop, and it said, what else would you like to work on?
A-U-D-I-B-L-E.
I'm going to go ahead and type audible because that's what we're working on next.
What is your preferred learning style? I need a lot of one-on-one work. Checkbox not checked.
And we've got some similar questions about learning styles. It goes on and on. But I think you get the point by now. Now I'm going to go back up to the top of this thing, and I'm going to go over a couple of options to navigate to specific form fields, because we know that the letter F navigates you to the first form field regardless of what it is. But what if I just wanted to jump down to the next combo box or checkbox or button? So combo box is C. So if I hit C,
state combo box required menu, California.
It's going to jump me down to the state combo box. X.
Finding and organizing documents. Checkbox checked.
Will jump me down to the next checkbox.
What else would you like to work on? Edit contains text.
E to the next edit box. Were there any radio buttons on this form? You could access them by hitting the letter A. There are not.
No radio buttons.
And if I just wanted to jump down to the submit button,
submit button,
I would hit the letter B. Okay. So
me,
I hear unmuting. Are there any questions?
Yeah. Yes, I do. You know what you're doing there with the C for combo box. You have to be outside of the form mode, right? To do that, is that right?
That is correct. Yes, because if I'm in a forms mode, I'm going to jump back up here to the prior edit box.
Is there anything else you would like to add? Edit.
So how do you get out of the form mode? Like if you're typing in the form.
Enter. Is there anything else?
Okay, so I just put myself in forms mode. You can get out of it several ways. You can either hit the tab key.
Submit button.
Let me go back in.
Is there anything else you would like to add? Escape. Virtual.
Hit escape.
Escape.
What is your preferred learning style? I don't know. Checkbox not. Is there any? Off.
Oh, okay.
On. Submit button. Is there any? Virtual PC.
or the keystroke to access the virtual PC cursor, which is the topmost long key on your numpad.
Plus, right? The plus, right?
Pardon?
The plus key?
It is plus. You are correct. Bit of a
I see.
bit of a brain short there.
Let's see. So when you say hit tab, can also do that?
Yes, if the next form control is one which by its nature takes you out of forms mode. So for instance,
Become a first name edit required. Angela, last email edit required. Phone edit required. 5 enter. Phone edit
I have quickly moved focus to the phone edit box. So I'm in the phone edit box.
Mm-hmm.
Street address edit required. Nah.
I'm going to tab over street address.
Street address 2 edit as pop-up. City edit
City.
required as pop. State combo box required. California. Zip edit required. What would you like to work on? Finding.
And then as soon as I get to that list of checkboxes, which do not use forms mode, it will automatically drop me out of forms mode.
I see.
But the quickest way to jump out of it is to hit escape or hit that
Escape.
numpad plus.
Gotcha. FYI, we just hear you again. You know.
I'm sorry?
I just hear you, but Jaws' speech is not there. I don't know if this is something that
Did it disappear again?
Yeah.
Lisa, can you hear it?
I cannot hear it now.
It's the phantomly disappearing Jaws. Well, that's okay because we're just about to transition to something else.
Sure.
And so I'll be sharing another window. So are there any other questions about form fields?
I
Mhm.
just have a question. So what you're saying is it's not enough to just tab into that empty box. You have to go into forms mode. Is that right?
Tab will automatically take you into forms mode.
Okay, thank you.
So let me shift tab back over to the zip field here.
Zip edit required. 00000.
So if I hit H, I'm in form mode. So if I hit H to go down to the next heading,
H.
it'll put an H in my form.
H.
But if you listen to, and Jaws has gone radio silent on you, but
I can hear it now.
I don't hear it. Yeah.
that is a strange thing indeed.
What would you like to work on?
The lower pitched pop as you tab through means that you are exiting forms mode.
Okay.
Zip edit required. Invalid.
The higher pitched pop means that you're entering forms mode.
Oh, okay.
I want to show you
Escape.
one more thing, which
State combo box required. Menu. California.
doesn't necessarily apply here because this combo box doesn't require this feature.
Enter. State.
But sometimes you get a combo box that changing the selection will change the screen. Very annoying for JAWS users. But when you're having a combo box like that, you can expand it by
Expanded
hitting
required.
Alt
California.
down arrow. And that will allow you to look in the combo box
Colorado. Arkansas. Arizona. California.
without actually having to, without it changing the screen every time you do something. If you're having a combo box that requires you to do that, when you select the option you want, in order to lock that option in, you need to hit enter. This particular combo box, you don't need to do that because all you have to do is just arrow or first letter tab to your selection. Victor, I think you were trying to say something.
Yeah. So you don't hit like Alt up arrow, anything like that, right? Just Alt down arrow only, right?
State combo box required. Menu. California. Zip.
Alt down arrow will
Expand.
expand it. When I hit Alt up arrow, it actually took me out of it.
Oh, okay. So Alt down arrow, and then select what you want, and then hit enter.
Yeah, yeah.
Alert. Albert A. Rule has joined the meeting.
Okay. Welcome, Albert. We are just finishing up our section on form browsing. So I'm going to I'm going to Control F4 out of this. Now, when you're exiting your web browser, Control F4 closes the web page you are currently on. So if you have different tabs, Alt F4 closes the window, Control F4 closes the tab. So I'm going to Control F4.
Wishlist alert.
Because I want the Audible wish list. Now that stop the screen share.
Select the window or an application that you want to share. Basic tab check selected. Share screen button. Big screen. Wishlist Audible. Google Chrome.
So we want wish list.
Share computer sound checkbox checked. Basic tab check select. Share wishlist Audible. Google Chrome button.
We want to share
Audio
computer
settings.
sound.
Wishlist Audible. Google Chrome. Wishlist.
Okay. Now, by request, I'm going to go over adding wish list items to the cart. Now, Audible is one of those funky sites that you really have to explore a little bit in order to get to know it, because it wasn't designed, whatever they may say, and the mobile app is actually quite accessible, but the web page is a bit of a pain in the tush sometimes. But I've got my wish list focused, and
Wishlist Audible.
the first thing
India.
that you notice when you read the title is that there's a non sequitur. Somebody needs to check the code on that. But if you navigate by heading,
Wishlist heading level
I'm
1.
just going to H down. The first heading you come to is wish list.
25 titles. Filters. Combo box all categories.
My wish list has 25 titles. I'm just arrowing down.
Combo box all lengths.
Categories, links, blah, blah, blah.
Table with 7 columns and 21 rows.
And then you have a table. These results are in table form. But navigating using table mode is not the most efficient way to do this. I happen to know that the best way to do this is to navigate through the buttons using the letter B.
Play sample for the deep snow button. Add the deep
Excuse
snow
me,
button.
Angela. Where are you? How did you get to the wish list? Because I don't see that on the main page.
Good question. The first thing you need to do is sign in.
Oh, sign in. Okay, so if we didn't have an account or something like that, then we wouldn't be
yes.
Okay.
In fact, maybe we'll go into Audible more deeply. But Audible is owned by Amazon, so you could actually get an Audible account through your Amazon membership.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're on audible.com. I was thinking
Right.
you're on your own website. Okay, sorry.
Oh no, no, I'm sorry. I switched over to Audible.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
But this actually gives me an opportunity to show you something else that I forgot to show you earlier, because you asked the question, how the heck do I get to the wish list? So if you're looking for a link and you know what letter it starts with, but you've got 125,000 links on the page, JAWS has a handy feature called the links list, and you access it by hitting Insert F7, which I'm going to do now.
JAWS version 2020.2003.13 ILM. Links list dialog. Links list view. Free with 30-day trial. 21 of 170.
170 links. Excellent. So I'm going to hit W because wish list and all.
W. Where recorded sync audio. W. Where recorded sync. W. Whisper sync for voice. W. Wish list.
By the way, there's no JAWS speech right now either, Angela.
I have to assume that it will come back.
Okay.
But I hit W 4 times, and it named a couple of titles that started with W. It said something else, and then it got to wish list. If I wanted to click on the link, I would simply hit enter. I do not, so I'm going to hit escape.
Escape. Wishlist Audible. Link graphic. The 5 love languages of teenagers audiobook cover art. Search for an audiobook, newspaper, magazine, and more button. Wishlist heading level 1. Play sample for the deep.
Go back to where I was. Okay. So there is a number of things here.
Link graphic. The deep snow. Link sort by price. Play sample list of 4 items. Link the deep snow.
The author, the narrator, the price. There's a lot of information, and you could arrow through it and read it. But if you want to just add something to your cart from your wish list, if you navigate by button, the first button is you're gonna come to is the one that says play sample. Play sample for the Deep Snow, which is a thriller that I haven't gotten around to purchasing yet.
Add the Deep Snow to cart button.
The second one allows me to add it to my cart.
Remove the Deep Snow from your wish list button.
The third allows me to remove it from my wish list. And if you hit B again,
play sample for the 5 love languages of teenagers button.
You get to my next book on my wish list, which is the 5 love languages of teenagers. Anything that we can do to enlighten ourselves about our teenagers can't be anything but helpful. So I'm going to shift B back up, and I'm going to add this to my cart.
Remove the add the Deep Snow to cart button. Enter sort by price. Call 6 row 2. Add the Deep Snow to cart button. Wishlist audible.
And I'm going to add it to my cart, and then I'm going to update the screen. Now this is where it gets a little bit wonky, because I can't remember exactly how the cart is indicated. Oftentimes the cart is indicated by the number of items in it. So, but I do know that the indication is up toward the top of the page. So I'm going to control home to go to the top of the page, and you hit that weird title. And then I'm just going to arrow down because I think it's a link, but I'm not sure.
Secondary navigation region. List of 4 items. Link collapse menu high. Angela. Link 0 credits available.
Tells me I have no credits available, such as life.
Link help. Link shopping cart. Items in cart 1. It
gives me a help option. I'm continuing to arrow down. And it says shopping cart. I'm going to hit enter on my
audible sign in Google Chrome. Password edit.
And then it's making me enter in my password again.
Sign in button. Password edit.
Okay. So if I were to do that, I would come to. I'm going to go ahead and do that.
Star.
So the joke is that every blind person's password is star. I went ahead and entered mine, and I'm going to hit enter and pray it's the correct one.
Shopping cart audible. Google Chrome. Copyright 1997.
Glory be, we're in. Okay, so the checkout button in this case is in fact a button, so I'm just going to go ahead and B down to it.
Remove the Deep Snow button.
I could remove it if I wanted to.
Add Thief River Falls to cart button. Remove search for an audiobook.
It's giving
remove the Deep.
It's giving me all sorts of other books that it wants me to add to my cart, and somewhere in the deep dark recesses of this page is the checkout button. And I'm not gonna travel through all those options. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a JAWS find. I'm gonna hit Control F.
JAWS find dialog. Type
checkout.
Enter. OK button. Screen find result dialog. Search string not found. OK button. Enter.
And maybe there's no space between check.
JAWS find dialog. Find what? CAE. Enter. Link proceed to checkout.
It's proceed to checkout. Huh?
It's wanting you to save your password in Chrome, I think. It's got this.
It does want me to save my password in Chrome. So this is actually a pretty good excuse to show you something else. And this is something, it drives my clients with some vision absolutely nuts. And you can attest to this, Lisa, because it pops up. I don't even notice it. JAWS doesn't tell me about it, but it pops up on the screen. So there's a handy feature that will allow me to move between different sections of the screen, and that is F6 and Shift F6. Now, if I hit F6, it would take me to the address bar. So I'm just going to hit Shift F6.
Shift F6. Save password. Dialog. Press Alt Shift A to show. Save button.
And it moves focus right to the Save button.
Enter. Shopping cart audible. Google Chrome. Link proceed to checkout.
So now my password is saved, and my focus is back on the Proceed to Checkout link, which I'm not going to hit because I don't want to buy a book right now. I'll buy the membership and get the book for a lot less money than I would have got it if I'd have bought the book. So that's Audible, and does that answer your questions about how to survive the wish list?
Yes, I guess you're not using H, but you're using B.
I'm using B, and I cheated. I looked over this web page earlier today to see what the best ways of navigating it were. The best way to familiarize yourself with a web page is to explore it. And this is where structured discovery meets the World Wide Web. And structured discovery is frustrating for some people because sometimes it's a lot more discovery than structure.
So can you just walk us through book by book, if you were going to just go down the list and you wanted to read all the books, like the first 3 books in your wish list, how you would do that?
Right. So you just want me to read? Do you want me to read all the information about it, or do you want me to just Q&D? Just what the heck are they, and how the heck do I put them in my cart?
Yeah, just what the heck are they, basically, just the titles.
Okay. So first thing I'm going to do is get to my wish list. So I'm going to activate the links list.
JAWS version 2020.20.
And I'm going to hit W.
W. WhisperSync for W. Wish list. Enter. JAWS version 2020.2003.13 ILM. JAWS version 2020.
Okay. Oh, JAWS, you talk a lot. Okay.
JAWS home manual. Shopping cart audible. Link library. And wish list audible.
So what
Wish
happened
list audible.
there
Google Chrome wish.
was I needed to do a screen refresh. You notice it said shopping cart because for whatever reason, my shopping cart was still being rendered in JAWS. When you click a link and it doesn't appear to click, hit insert escape, and what that'll do is that'll refresh the screen.
So insert L gave you the list of the links, and then you hit the W's, right?
Insert F7. Did I say insert L?
No, I did. I thought there was another way to do that besides F7. There's not a, that's okay. I'll remember that. Insert F7.
Insert F7, yeah. So I'm going to drop down to
Most wished for audible books heading level 2. And wish list heading level 1.
Okay, there we go. I'm going to control home to the top of the page, and then I'm going to H down to the first heading, which says wish list. I just wanted to skip over all that top navigation thing. And I happen to know that the hack for accessing these books is to navigate by button, because you've got the play sample button, the add to cart button, and the add to wish list button, all of which tell you what the books are. And you're probably not going to want to read the book summary. That is actually under a link. You can actually access that by tabbing or hitting U to access a link. But if you didn't like the book, you wouldn't have put it in your wish list to begin with. So presumably you're just going to buy. So we're going to hit B.
Play sample for the deep snow button.
Jump down to the first button. It says play sample for the deep snow. We're going to jump down again.
Remove the deep snow from your wish list button.
Now it says remove from wish list. Ordinarily it would say add to cart at this point, but it's already in my cart. Presumably once I buy it, it will fall off my wish list, but we can't count on that. So I'm going to hit B again.
Play sample for the 5 love languages of teenagers button.
Play sample for the 5 love languages of teenagers.
Add the 5 love languages of teenagers to cart button.
B again, I can add it to my cart.
Remove the 5 love
B
languages of
again,
teenagers from your wish list
I
button.
can remove it from my wish list. Okay, so we're going to do this again.
Play sample for the killer across the table button.
I'm a true crime fan, have you noticed?
I love it. I am one too.
Awesome. Okay, so you could play the sample. You can add it.
Add the killer across the table to cart button.
Cart.
Remove the killer across the table from your wish list.
Or you could remove it from the wish list. I can't remember adding this particular title to my wish list, but I must have thought it was interesting. Okay. So that's the hack. That's the Q&D hack for just going through the books in your wish list, and there's like 25 of them in here.
So B and F7 are the audible.
Insert F7.
Got it.
And you can also do a JAWS find for a particular phrase if you do that you know is on there. That is Control F. Type the phrase and hit enter. But as we found out, that's not always that doesn't always work.
I have a question, please. So is the find better to use Control F or Control Insert F?
I use Control F. I just
Mhm.
find that works better.
Mm-hmm.
You could do
Okay,
either one.
okay, either one. Okay.
Okay. Well, we've covered quite a bit today, actually. Does anybody have any questions?
Let's see. So you're demonstrating on Google Chrome, right?
Yes.
Okay. So would this work pretty similarly in like Mozilla?
Yes, it would work very similarly in Mozilla. Now, the one thing I would say, if you do choose to use Internet Explorer,
Mhm.
the command to open a new file location in Chrome and Firefox is Control L.
Yep.
In Internet Explorer, it's Control O. So if you switch between Internet Explorer and Chrome/Firefox,
Mhm.
you find yourself doing something that you did not intend to do. If you're anything like me, it means that you hit the wrong command because you got mixed up as to which browser you were in.
Your recording of
Done it?
this class should have Charles' speech on it, right? Right now, I'm following along with just your description of what the feedback you get, but
Add the killer across the table to cart button.
Is it still radio silent?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like when we
Yeah, and
I can hear it.
yeah.
It's something that I'm going to have to resolve
Yeah.
before next Sunday because I need Jaws to talk.
Mhm.
I need Jaws to stand up and be counted. And I'm not sure why it's doing what it's doing. I don't know if it's a bug in Zoom or Jaws or what the problem is, but I'm going to have to look into it before next Sunday.
Mhm.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can hear it just fine. I don't know.
Yeah, George, are you doing it on the computer there, Lisa?
Yes.
Because I'm on iOS, so I'm thinking maybe that might be the difference.
I can't, because you're obviously, you're unmuted. You can hear me, so why can't you hear the computer sound with iOS? That's very odd.
Do you want me to log on to my iOS to see if I can hear it from there?
No, Angela, I'm on an iPhone 10R here, and I'm hearing Jaws just fine, as well as your voice.
Maybe what I can do is I can log out and are we done with the class, or we have?
It could just be wonkiness with your particular setup there. And listen to the recording, Victor,
Okay.
and see if you can hear it later. Once I get this recording posted, it'll be interesting to see if you're able to hear Jaws. But it has gone radio silent for everybody a couple times because I think Lisa confirmed it. So so yeah, it's something that I'm gonna have to look into and just make sure that it doesn't do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of next Sunday, all of you know this, but I'm going to say it for the benefit of the recording. I will be offering a 4-course, 8-webinar series on Microsoft Office. So each course is broken up into 2 webinars. We will be going over PowerPoint, Outlook, Word, Excel, and PowerPoint in that order. These will be paid webinars, but they will come with a lot more stuff. They will come with written procedures, and you get free one-on-one training with me when you purchase a class, all kinds of other goodies. So go to www.angelafowlertraining.com. Click on All About Office and read all about it. Okay, so that concludes my announcements, and unless anybody has any further questions.
So will you have like a more like extensive class for the web, because their website said that requires the use of the mouse, for example, things like this.
I think I probably should.
Mhm.
I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do it, whether it'll be free or paid, or whether it'll be in installments. But it's definitely something that I need to think about offering.
How about do you have experience, say, like in sound editing, um, making podcasts, stuff like that? Because things like that you don't hear people offering to teach too much, like how to use like Gold Wave or some of the sound editing software.
Yeah, let me go ahead and stop the recording, and we'll talk about this because
Sure.
because that is definitely something that that we can look into. And this concludes our web browsing basics webinar. Have a good day, everybody.